coming up on The Solo Show.
Yeah, he seems very chill.
Okay,
right.
Who hasn't been there at some point? Let's be honest.
What, locked in your crypt with a...
Just be like, I give up.
You know what? I was going to say I want to hang out with you, Jay, but not so much anymore.
We've got three guest hosts in guest host chairs as we do our roundtable review of Werewolf by Night. The Solo Show is brought to you, as always, by Victor Naraki Realtor, serving Disney and the greater Orlando area with celebratingflorida.com and disneyatyourdoorstep.com. If your dream of living near Walt Disney World has become more of a nightmare, then you need to get in touch with Victor Naraki Realtor. He'll take the fear out of your dreams by helping you get the best home for the best price. Victor has over a decade of getting you monstrously good deals. So good, in fact, you'll think it's a trick, but it's a treat to work with Victor. Victor will adapt to your needs, help you find the right property, whether it's for your dream home, rental property, or vacation paradise. Reach out to him today on his website, celebratingflorida.com, or at disneyatyourdoorstep.com. Follow him at Victor Naraki Realtor on Facebook, and don't forget to tell him The Solo Show sent you. Boo! Hey, kiddies, did I scare you? What? No, not really, eh? Well, okay. I'm Count Floyd here for you today to talk about The Solo Show, and we really blew the budget today on snacks in the green room because, boy, that Ken the voiceover guy, he can really eat, I tell you. Ow! Scared you a little bit that time, didn't I? No? Okay. Well, today on The Solo Show, we've got a really good show for you kiddies. We've got the three guest hosts in the guest host chairs as we talk about Werewolf by Night. Ooh, scary stuff. And I'm here to tell you that this is a good one, so stick around right to the end. And as always, now please welcome your host, the scariest guy I know, the ghost host with the most. Ow! Here's Stan Solo.
Hello and welcome to this edition of The Solo Show. I am Stan Solo as always, and joining me today we've got a roundtable discussion of Werewolf by Night. Now, if you have not seen Werewolf by Night on Disney Plus yet, you don't have to turn us off just yet. We're going to go spoiler free for the first little bit, and then we'll let you know when we're getting into the spoilers. So first up, friend of the show, or well, I got two. I guess we're all kind of Grand Circle Tour type people. Let's go to my left. Mission Commander, how are you today, my friend? And welcome. What do you think of Werewolf by Night?
I'm doing very well. Yeah, I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I loved how it is kind of an homage to the old classic Universal monster movies from beginning to end. I really enjoyed a lot of that. I was not familiar with a lot of these characters, but I enjoyed the story overall.
So going in and what you saw in the end, was it what you were expecting?
I had basically zero expectations for this going in. I was just watching it because it's a Marvel production.
Alrighty. Skipper Jay, how are you today? And what were your thoughts about this?
I am fantastic. Wait, we're on The Solo Show? I can't keep up anymore. Where am I? What day is it? Okay. Actually, I'm going to give this an A++. As a lifelong Marvel reader, I've always kind of skipped past their monsters. This was fun. This was, like Justin said, a throwback to Universal. I had a great time, but I'm glad it's a one-off and not a series. And I'm hoping that we get a yearly Halloween special.
That would be cool. That's something I want to ask near the end. Do we want to see more of the Marvel monsters? Voiceover guy Ken, same questions to you. Were you this what you going into it? Were you expecting what you saw?
I got to go along with Jay. I was never a huge fan of the Marvel monsters. I just found them not as interesting. There was something about this, though, that just sucked me in right from the opening credits. I loved everything about it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Something I would like, I agree as well. I don't think I'd want to see it as a series, but I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of sequels.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. Okay, so all four of us are old time or long ago or once upon a time comic book collectors, kind of in the heyday of when the Marvel Monster comics
just
were out.
say, get off my lawn, everyone.
Exactly.
My point is, all four of us were never really read the Monster comic books. Did anybody read these comic books when they were coming out? Like, why did they make them?
Well, someone must have, because they kept making them.
But I really hate to say it. I'm with Ken. Like, when these would come out, I would skip them because they weren't part of the Marvel line. It seemed like a ripoff of the Universal Monsters, and I just passed on them.
Yeah, I think all four of us did, unless it was like an issue number 1 or Daredevil. I did collect Moon Knight. I did collect the Moon Knight comic. So if Moon Knight made an appearance in one of the Monster movie comics, then I would buy it. I don't remember them at all. My memory's not that good anymore.
Yeah, wasn't Moon Knight introduced in Werewolf by Night?
Yes, he was.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch the Moon Knight series, there's a QR code on the wall, and I think it might be show number 1 of Moon Knight. And if you scan that QR code, it takes you to a free download of the Werewolf by Night comic book that features the first appearance of Moon Knight.
Okay, I need to go back and watch these Marvel shows because apparently She-Hulk did the same thing.
Yes.
I didn't see any QR code in She-Hulk. There's a She-Hulk QR
Yes,
code?
there are QR codes in She-Hulk
In
as
every
well.
episode, yeah.
I missed those completely. Okay.
So did I.
did that. Yeah. All right. Speaking of She-Hulk, did you guys like She-Hulk? We're not doing a roundtable of She-Hulk, but what were your thoughts on it?
You know what? It was so different. It took me a minute to get into it, but by the last episode, I was really enjoying it. I actually got right into it. It took about 3 episodes, and then I just really started to enjoy it.
You know, Ken, I'm
Commander,
going to...
Okay, Jay, go ahead, Jay.
I'm going to give She-Hulk an A++++ because it was so fun, so different. It was nice to have a Marvel show that was just fun and not the universe is ending, everything's at stake. This was just a blast to watch.
And Mission Commander, Justin?
I mostly enjoyed it. I still think Daredevil was the best part of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, I did enjoy that little scene too. Yeah.
Can we just say real quick, in a family-friendly way, did anybody expect the particular relationship between She-Hulk and Daredevil to happen? Because when it did,
yet, but I do have to say, seeing him in this show makes me look forward to his own show that's coming out.
I think they would be a perfect couple, and I want that show.
Yeah, married with superheroes.
Yes.
Love and marriage, love and... Anyway, that's enough about She-Hulk. So we want to talk about Werewolf by Night. Yeah, for myself, same thing. I didn't even watch the trailer, so I had no clue what I was getting into when I got into it. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. Something new on Disney Plus. I clicked play like the day it came out, and I was wrapped up into it right away. I'm also a big fan of the Universal Monster movies as well.
Same.
So it fit right into my wheelhouse.
Those are my Halloween movies. I watch the classic black and white monsters every Halloween.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
I agree. Yeah, I usually do too. Yeah.
So if you haven't watched it,
tend to watch them than actually watch them, but yeah.
Yeah,
I'm coming over with popcorn. I'm gonna make popcorn. We're gonna watch the classics and have a good laugh.
It's been years and years since I've watched any of them, but I do enjoy them very much. So if you haven't watched Werewolf by Night, we got 4 thumbs up right here for you, telling you to go watch it. And after you do, come back after this, and we'll talk some more about Werewolf by Night.
This Halloween, you can't escape the shock, the terror of Werewolf by Night.
Tonight, it is every hunter for themselves.
Good luck. I'll be rotting for you.
But one of you is a monster, masquerading as one of our own. I can't wait to find out what breed of evil you are. You'll wanna see this, darling.
Please don't do this. Death is coming for you!
Werewolf by Night.
Welcome back.
I'm going to say 5 thumbs up because the Invisible Man is here, but he's not speaking.
Well, even, you know what, I gotta say, like, even my daughter, who represents the younger generation, she really enjoyed it as well. She loved it very much. She says, "Tell everybody I liked it," which is kind of unusual for her and I to like the same show. So starting off at the beginning, now, is this a movie? Is this I guess they call it a Marvel Studios special presentation, and it had that very cool 80s looking intro with the rainbow lights and everything.
Reminded me a lot of the old CBS special presentations.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that, I have to admit, that's when I started getting hooked right from there. It's just like I was thrown right back to, 10, 11 years old in the living room watching those on Saturday night or whatever.
See, I'm with you, Ken. This felt like the old days. This felt like, Wizard of Oz would come on once a year. This felt like a once a year thing.
Right. Are we going to see this logo again going forward? Or is there going to be a Tomb of Dracula series and we're going to have this logo or a man thing?
I hope so. I'd love to see that.
Okay. I'm
assuming we will see this sort of special presentation happen again, some more one-offs. Since they did it once, they'll do it again.
I will tell you guys this right now. If they do Tomb of Dracula, please bring Storm from the X-Men in, because that was one of the best X-Men stories ever.
Yeah, agreed.
I can't see them doing that, but that'd be cool if they did.
Dracula had it bad for Storm. He turned her into a vampire. It was a whole run on the 80s.
Sure, why not?
So after we get that 80s cool intro, we get the regular Marvel intro, and it quickly shifts. It goes to black and white. We get the claw marks of the werewolf trying to burst through the logo, and the scream and lightning, and much more exciting intro than the usual Marvel intro, I would say.
Was this the time we heard an option of the Marvel theme?
Yes, there was definitely a switch there. It went to that more 30s, 40s kind of a sound.
Yeah, I think this was the first time ever they've actually played with the theme and done something different. The whole Marvel.
No, they have done some different versions of the fanfare in other shows. It's been a little slight changes in the orchestration and slight changes in the tempo in some of the other episodes of even in some of the movies too, just to sort of make it work with the actual film. But this was a big change. I really liked that. Again, it sort of kept that Universal Studios feel. There was the lightning flashing across the screen and the claw marks and even the scream. I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
And it takes us right into that concept then, that we're going into more of this like old classic monster movie sort of black and white feel right from the beginning. So that was done very well.
And we get that.
I appreciate they didn't waste time. They went right into it.
Yeah. And we get that Werewolf by Night font or 50s, 60s, 40s font. What is it? The 20s font? I'm not sure, but it's a very
be like a 40s font.
40s. It even has like Roman numerals on the bottom, like the old movies used to have when they first came out.
Yeah.
Kids have no idea what we're talking about.
No.
Oh yeah, no. I think most people do. So we get like the. I don't want to go step by step. I just kind of at the beginning here, the Bloodstone and the Bloodstone family, and kind of the history of the stone through a narrator basically tells us the story of the Bloodstone. Thoughts on that?
I love the artwork. I love the drawings, actually. I like that. And again, that's got that very universal feel to it. I honestly don't know who did the artwork. I'm assuming it's digital, but it was gorgeous. I want printouts of those so I can put them up down here in the cave.
Did anybody else have like a little internal laugh because they're replicating Universal, which is their biggest competitor in Florida right now?
That's a good point.
Well, or are they paying homage to it?
They're definitely and like we say, the original comics even were kind of paying homage to those classic monsters at the time, so it makes sense that that's what they're doing here as well.
Yeah. Or is Disney going back saying, guess what we're buying next?
No, please don't say that. I am Epic Universe, Universal Monsterland. I'm so excited. Please don't take that from me.
When you see what Disney did with Marvel and the Marvel characters, could you imagine if they took over the Universal monsters, what they could do with that?
I'm so excited for Universal Monsterland. I can't wait.
So what year is this movie set in? Justin, what year are we in this movie?
You know, the thing is I think we are in a present day sort of thing. They're just showing it to us in black and white.
Because we got,
and you can see when they're in like the tomb, some of those death dates are as late as like the 80s.
Right. Yeah. So that was kind of the giveaway. Was that I think that 1986.
I think is the latest one that's in there.
But the latest one.
Still.
So that kind of leads us to almost know, but it really they were trying to really sell this 20s 30s look. But yeah,
I'm with Justin. I thought it was today, but we're just getting that old timey look for the series. The show.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the characters. So Ulysses Bloodstone is kind of like where the show is kind of centered around. This is his funeral. We're all going to. We don't know too much about him other than that he was a long-time hunter. He was very proud of a hunter. He had his trophies up on the walls everywhere. Monster hunter, I guess we should say.
Not gonna lie, when they put the crank in and started making him the animatronic, I looked at my spouse and went, "That's what I want for my funeral."
Yeah.
You know what I liked about that too is I'm glad you mentioned that, because to me that just had that feeling of the original Disney style animatronics that they had so much problems with the in original Disneyland, the sort of shaky movements. And I mean, they were great at the time, but compared to what they do now, it's just hilarious to look back at them.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that was a cool thing. And then, of course, you had to have that. What does he say? I'll be
rotting for you.
Yes. Ooh.
Again, turn me into an animatronic and fill me full of bad puns. I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, technically, I'm out.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Then there's Verussa Bloodstone, his wife. Now Ilsa is the daughter of Ulysses. Is she also the daughter of Verussa, or is because she mentions that
she says stepmother?
Yeah, Verussa is sort of the quote unquote evil stepmother.
Yeah, that was the impression
I had.
Yeah, because she says how you're more like your mother. She says, which would be odd to refer to herself that way. Then there's Ilsa Bloodstone, who's kind of like, I guess, the hero of the show.
Of a sort.
Well, she's meeting a California adventure right now. So
is she really?
Yeah,
that character is showing up at Avengers Campus
and in color, not black and white.
Well, that's a cool trick.
That's cool. Does she have red hair or dark hair in California? Because in the comic book, she had red hair.
I think they have her in dark hair.
I remember her jacket was yellow. That's what I remember.
In the show, she had a red jacket. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Jack Russell, who we later find out is the werewolf.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can we all go? But I'll bump.
Yeah.
I laughed when I heard that was his full name.
So I guess that was the name back in the comic book days too.
Yes.
So this is a joke that goes back to the 70s. That his name is Jack Russell, and he does have a lot of dog-like qualities or wolf-like qualities, I guess, in the show that they show. When he's in the tomb, he goes to lie down, but before he lies down, he does a complete 360.
Yeah.
And then he lies down. I don't know if you guys caught that or not.
Well, I do that, but you know.
And then when he's in the cage later, he does that kind of a dog scratch behind the ear, which is a little bit more obvious than the 360 walk. The sniffing, he wants to get her scent. So he does have Jack Russell qualities about him. Then there's
he wasn't a spaz.
No.
I like Jack Russells, but they're the spazziest dogs of all.
Then is it Joshua? Is that how you pronounce his name? Josha?
Sure.
Who is I guess he's like the Scottish hunter.
Joshua Jovan. Jovan is his last name, but yeah.
Yeah.
He spoke his first word, and we looked at each other and went, "He's the first to die."
So I looked at the actor was Justin. Do you have it there?
Kirk Thatcher.
Kirk R. Thatcher. This guy has a really interesting past. I'm not sure if you checked out his IMDb page or not, but I guess he started working for Industrial Light and Magic when he was 19 years old, and helped build the creatures for Return of the Jedi.
Stan, he did direct Muppets Haunted Mansion, and I need you to say it the right way.
Muppets Haunted Mansion.
But he was the punk in Star Trek 4 on the bus.
Oh, you stole that one from me, Jay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was just going to say that.
Can delete that out and put your own in.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's when I realized that he was the kid on the bus. I thought, oh, that's just made my day. I just was so happy.
He's directed or written over 30 Muppet commercials or web series. He was involved in Muppets Wizard of Oz. Oh my gosh, I want to talk to this guy. He sounds like he's just been.
Can we get him on for an
I know. Of anybody, I want to talk to him more now than anybody else in the world. I think right now. And then there was Azrael. Is that how you pronounce the name?
I think it's
I'm a
Azrael.
Batman fan, so I thought it was Azazel.
So that's the hunter that was all dressed in white, head to toe in white with the big fur, white collar.
Yeah.
Is this a male or a female?
Yes.
I felt
Yes,
really bad
exactly.
because I had to look it up
Yeah.
to see if they were male or female. Audience, don't get mad at me. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I think the character is supposed to be very androgynous. I think you're not really supposed to know.
We checked IMDb. It was a female.
So I was watching with my daughter and I was saying, is this a male or a female? This hunter,
I'm
my
not
daughter
gonna
goes,
lie. Every time she showed up on screen, we kept going, "The beautiful people, the beautiful people."
yes, yes. Almost like a David Bowie type of look too.
We were going.
That was kind of my thought. Is that it was very evocative of David Bowie, in my opinion.
See, we said Marilyn Manson. We didn't even go to Bowie.
Yeah, no, I saw Bowie. Then there was it Lornoth, Liorn, Lorn, who was of course the first one to get it with the arrow, with his own arrow. Shot with his own hand.
His mini crossbow.
Yeah, holding it with his own hand. It's like...
Not gonna lie, I laughed so hard at that.
So if somebody
that's
cuts off,
something too, that by doing this in black and white, we got to see a bit more gore than we would have if it was in color.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you get your hand cut off and somebody uses your own hand to kill you, did you die by your own hand? Is that?
I think you'd have to rule that a suicide.
I have a joke, but since this is family friendly, I'll tell you guys.
And then there was Barroso, who was played by Billy Swan, who was the servant, I guess. Is that how you?
No, Daniel J. Watts played Barroso. Billy Swan was the name of the servant.
Right. Okay. Right. Sorry. So Billy Swan was the name of the servant. So yeah, interesting characters. We didn't get much backstory on them, and we didn't need much backstory on them. We kind of figured out who they were in a very black and white way, that they were hunters and they were there to kill monsters.
They were basically our red shirts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
In a black and white way, like Stan said, no pun intended.
Yes, exactly. So the goal is to get the Bloodstone, and whoever gets the Bloodstone gets to keep it and becomes the next Bloodstone keeper, I guess. Which
leader of the organization or what have you. And
Yeah.
the Bloodstone itself seems to have a lot of interesting powers that makes it very valuable.
Yeah, gives you a longer life, makes you stronger, makes monsters weaker, stuff like that there. So they can get the Bloodstone by any means necessary. So they go out into this maze, and the idea is you got to get this Bloodstone even if you have to kill the other hunters. Now, if there's so few hunters in the world, why are they encouraging hunters to kill each other hunters? That kind of fell short on me. It's like, we got 6 hunters. After this, we might have 2, but that's fine.
That's a good observation, because we asked the same thing. Why are they thinning out their own ranks?
Yeah.
But we loved the set. The set looked old-timey Universal.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful sets on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and on top of it, though, this is like their 6 best hunters.
Yeah. So
No kidding, yeah.
in the herd?
Yeah. I mean, I guess Blade was missing, the vampire hunter.
Who didn't want Wesley Snipes to show up, just sort of jump the wall and say, hey, guys.
Oh, I wish.
I was kind of waiting for that. I was kind of waiting for Blade appearance, for sure. So it's strapped onto the hide of the monster, and whoever gets it, basically, is how it works. Unless you're a monster yourself or you help a monster, then you don't get it.
Fortunately, neither of those things would happen.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, now you're just talking crazy talk.
Yeah. So the one guy gets killed with his own
His own crossbow.
arrow.
That's
his own hand.
Mini crossbow
attached to his hand.
And our two heroes end up in the crypt together, and there's all these names on the. I'm assuming these names are all backstage names that mean something to somebody.
I did love the Hot Topic prop of like where you would buy a thing to put letters on. That's what it reminded me of.
Yes,
It did a little bit.
There was a sale of Hot Topic, so the set designer just grabbed everything in stock.
You got to watch the budget somehow,
right?
Yeah. So they're in this crypt together, Jack and Ilsa.
And Elsa, yeah.
Elsa. Neither one of them seem over panicky. They kind of are keeping their heads amongst, like we'll figure this out. We'll get out. And Jack in particular goes, well, he just sits down and goes, well, I guess one of the options is we could just die here, with your family.
Yeah, he seems very chill.
Okay,
right.
Who hasn't been there at some point? Let's be honest.
What, locked in their crypt with a?
Just be like, I give up.
You know what? I was going to say I want to hang out with you, Jay, but not so much anymore.
Apparently, Jay often finds himself locked in a crypt with a stranger.
45 years, Ken. It's been a rough 45 years. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I feel you. Yeah, what I thought, and what actually made me laugh out loud, which was so stupid, was the real old-fashioned joke where as he's coming in the door, she's like, no, don't let the door close.
Yes.
And then and I just thought that is so typical of those old Universal movies. You always have that moment of like, oh, okay, I'm going to get out now. No, I'm not. And I just thought, I love that they were throwing in all of those sorts of tropes just right out of the blue. I didn't even see that one coming, and I'm like, oh, God, that just made me laugh. I actually had to pause for a minute.
Well, Kim, let me ask you real quick, because when that happened, I looked at Chris and went, is it just me, or do you want to go back and watch all the old black and white horror movies now?
Oh, I did.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. As soon as the credits rolled on that, I was like, I should dig out my DVDs.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but this was a great ad for the old Universal black and whites.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're in this crypt together, but they're not stuck in there, or at least Jack knows they're not stuck in there. He has that explosive. There's no way that this explosive that a door would stand a chance against this explosive. It was just a matter of him just putting the explosive by the door, and that would open up the door. So he knew darn well they were getting out.
And that's probably why he decided to roll down and have a nap.
And see what she was going to do. Yeah. At the same time, it didn't make sense to me because he was in a hurry to find Ted, to find his friend. So it seemed unusual. It seemed weird that he was taking this time to just kind of relax and see what she was going to do.
Wouldn't you think, though, that if you knew you only had the one explosive and that was what you were going to use to be able to free your friend, that you would want to hold on to that? That's the feeling I got from it, was that you want to keep that as your absolute last resort.
Same. That was the fail-safe for all emergencies.
At the same time, though, now, where did he get that explosive? Was that when they were putting their medallions in the cup and they were taking something out of the skull? Is that what that explosive came from? Like, where he didn't know, he wasn't familiar with it. He just seems like he just got it. There was that one scene.
I really thought he was on a mission to save Man-Thing, who Ted is. Mm-hmm. And he brought that with him, and that was his like James Bond fail-safe.
But he had no clue how to use it or anything. He just knew it was an explosive.
He kept putting it in the wall and it kept falling out.
Right, which was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
I don't know. It seemed that whole thing just didn't add up to me. That I'm in a hurry to find Ted and to rescue him and to escape. I mean, Ted could climb that wall.
But again, another callback to old Universal. We have this one thing to save everybody.
Yeah. It felt like a plot hole. It felt like a plot hole in the end to me.
I don't know about a plot hole, but it was weird that he did seem so chill in that scene because, as you say, prior to that it was such a sense of urgency, and all of a sudden that sense of urgency just disappeared.
Right.
So
it'd be like there's a fire, but I'm going to relax first before I put out the fire.
Not to say how old I am. Did anybody else get the feeling of 66 Adam West Batman going, some days you can't get rid of a bomb?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I like that.
But anyways, other than that, I didn't find any little errors or plot holes or anything that just made me go, something doesn't add up here. Ted, I guess Ted is the name in the comic book. Man-Thing's name is Theodore, which I guess Ted is short for.
Ted Moore, I think, is his secret identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
That honestly, for me, that was probably the highlight of the entire thing, was the reveal that it was going to be Man-Thing that they were chasing after. That is the one Marvel monster that I did follow from time to time, was Man-Thing, because I was really into Swamp Thing and Man-Thing for a long time. I loved the Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing. I loved the Man-Thing storyline. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm here right to the end. You've got me.
Okay, Ken, I have to ask, are you like me? Did you like Man-Thing better than Swamp Thing?
It depends on what era. The Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing, for me, was just about the pinnacle of that character. But I really liked the old Man-Thing comics, like we're talking the mid 70s ones.
Okay,
later
Ken,
on,
this is why we're friends.
Yeah, agreed. I'm telling you, brother from another mother.
Yep.
So we're watching Werewolf at Night. We're 2/3 into the movie. We still haven't seen a werewolf. Anybody?
Again, a very universal thing. Very often, you don't see the monster until right near the end of the movie. Though for me, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, which I love, because this brought me right back to the Universal days of the worst thing imaginable is in your head. They show just enough to let your imagination be scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only time you actually ever see the monster right from the beginning of the movie is Dracula, and that's because it is the main focus of the movie is Bela Lugosi. But very often in the old Universal movies, there's usually like a half hour before you actually see the character, and sometimes even more. Think about Creature from the Black Lagoon. Think about The Mummy,
Because it was, 40 minutes before we saw the werewolf in this?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, in a 50-minute show.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have to say what a great job they did with that transformation scene as well.
Yeah. I made a note about that. I want to mention that coming up.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Of course, I'm assuming that was traditional animation projected over the actress, so we could see in the background the shadows of the transformation.
Yeah,
done extremely well.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You made a mention of a favorite shot in the movie, and that to me was just gorgeous. That's my favorite shot in the whole movie, because you don't see that as often anymore, where they sort of make you see the transformation through someone else's eyes, and that's really what we got to see there, because it's Elsa reacting to the transformation. It's those beautiful shots on the back wall behind her, and a little bit of smoke and fog on the ground. Just 100%. That was, for me, was the defining shot of the whole thing. It just was beautiful.
I'm with you 1,000%, Ken. This brought me back to my favorite memories of all the 30s, 40s Universal monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess my question is did we see enough of the werewolf, and did what we see satisfy our appetites, Justin?
To some extent, I feel like the whole short could have been longer. The whole thing we could have done more to kind of explore this world a little bit more. We could have had a little more length to the overall special. And the werewolf is part of that we didn't see much of it, which makes us want, say, a follow-up sequel, something. We want this character to show up again so we can see more of him.
Mm-hmm. What do you say, Jay?
I agree. I'm hoping next year we get Werewolf by Night versus the Mummy.
How about versus Moon Knight?
How about versus Abbott and Costello?
Oh, I wish. That'd be awesome.
I do want to get to
again. Get off our lawn.
I do want to get to our pinnacle shot, which I want to talk about near the end. But I want to talk about what were some of our favorite scenes or clips, like not so much a single frame shot, but like I really love the humor in this show, where he was scratching himself like a dog I mentioned earlier, that type of stuff. Was there anything that stood out for you? Is like yeah, this is awesome.
Stan, I will tell you the one thing that actually bugged me, and it's because the movie hit me so hard. I cried for a week after watching it. Was every time it was black and white and they showed red, my mind went right back to Schindler's List and the girl in the red coat.
Very good.
And that for some reason I had a hard time with the red and black and white because I kept going back to that movie.
Yeah.
See, and for me, I thought more of WandaVision, the second episode where all these bits of red were coming into her black and white world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now I want to talk about that because we're familiar with WandaVision and her red magic. Now we got this Bloodstone that seems to have red magic. Is this the same magic?
Or is it related in some way?
Well, now that you say it, I want to see Werewolf by Night versus Wanda.
Yeah, here we go.
Sign me up. Yeah, sign me up.
Like, is the Bloodstone a chip off of the whatever stone Wanda uses?
Dang it, Stan, now that's all I can think about is like, how does this relate to Wanda?
Yeah, because we did talk an awful lot about how Marvel really has their magic. Each magic has its own color. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We talked about that in
so chaos magic.
But the chaos magic doesn't come directly from any of the stones. It was the Mind Stone kind of unlocked that for her.
Yeah,
is the idea there. But the chaos magic was something that was kind of part of her from the beginning.
Yeah. So anyway, something to go. Is this something we're going to see in the future?
Okay, I want to know what the listeners think now. Please email into the Solo Show to let us know what you think.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
The scene where the werewolf is fighting and the door is closing in that hallway and the shadow is from the doorway is lowering and the black and white blood squirts on the screen several times and is dripping down.
Genius.
I just love that scene. With a single shot. Yeah, complete genius, Ken. You're right.
And again, that goes back to what I said before. It's like you couldn't get away with that if you weren't doing this in black and white.
No. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I thought that was amazing.
That's a very subtle touch too. And again, that's harkening back to the 30s thing where you would get away with that because it's in black and white. I mean, everybody knew it was chocolate syrup that they would just splatter on the lens, and it's just everything about that just sort of has that homage. Like the director, who we haven't mentioned yet, is Michael Giacchino, who is obviously a huge fan of these old 30s monster movies. And I'm sure you guys all recognize the name Michael Giacchino, who is actually one of Marvel's favorite composers. Wrote so many of the great scores for the Marvel movies, all of the Spider-Man films, all of and it's just great to see someone like that who is obviously steeped in the film. Like he obviously loves these 30s monster movies, and these little touches he keeps throwing in everywhere just made that movie so much more enjoyable. Everything about it, I just love.
Yeah.
See, Ken, I'm 1,000% with you. This felt like an homage and a love letter to the old ones we grew up with.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, even going so far as putting the cue marks in the corner, which back in the day would let the projectionist know it's time to change the reel.
The cigarette burns, yeah.
I love seeing that because it just instantly takes me back to those old movies again because it's like, I recognize that.
Yeah.
And the funny thing of that is that you never see them anymore because all the films are shot digitally or they remove them if they have to. And I kind of miss that because I remember growing up watching on television, you'd always see that little flash up in the top right corner and you'd go, okay,
See, again, I'm 1,000% with you.
Yeah, for sure. So Ted or Man Thing, he comes from a swamp. Is that kind of the backstory?
Now you're challenging my memory.
I think his car falls into he gets into a car accident and falls into a swamp and there's some kind of chemical in the swamp that gets absorbed into his body and that creates Man Thing is what I understand.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess my question is, so he has these flowers growing out of him and these fungi and whatnot. What does he smell like? Does he smell like a swamp or does he smell like pretty flowers? That's what
I was going to say. Lavender, probably lavender.
Probably a bit of both.
I will say my favorite scene in this whole episode is she looks at him and goes, Ted, and you watch his whole body relax. Like, you know who I am. We're good.
Yeah, exactly. So we get to the end. Man Thing saves the day, basically smashing through the roof, killing what's her name? Verussa. And all the bad guys are dead, and Ilsa's alone. She now has possession of the Bloodstone. She's relaxing in a chair. For some reason, Somewhere Over the Rainbow plays, and everything turns to color.
I love that. I'm sorry. I absolutely love that scene.
That was brilliant. It's again going back to the Wizard of Oz movie. The whole thing, the transition with that song playing just as they make the transition from black and white to color, back to the original Wizard of Oz, where she opens the door and oh man, we're not in Kansas anymore. Right.
So, what is the significance of everything going to color? Justin, do you have a theory?
I don't have much of a theory. I assumed that they were just going to show her kind of turning red because now she has this power. But then they go completely into color when they switch back to Man-Thing and Jack. So I assume it's just like we're kind of done with this 30s pastiche, and we're.
How about you, Jay?
I really thought that the Dark Knight is over. We're in the day. I love the coffee press on the fire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But that's just it. It's like we're kind of like it's the new dawn of the new day because we have this new leader of the Monster Hunter Club or whatever.
Okay, so maybe I read too much into it, but this is what I felt. Ilsa came into this story, and monsters are bad, people are good. It's black and white. Now she met Ted.
Necessarily.
That was her mindset. That was all the monsters are bad. Yeah. They're either good or you're bad. It's black or it's white. She met Ted. She met Jack. Well, they're not that bad.
No.
And it opened up her mind. It opened up her world that now everything is in color. She's actually seeing reality.
Stan, this black and white to color and Judy Garland made me really want a next one next October to see these characters back again.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. But
that's
what do you think?
Am I
off my wall, or do you think I'm onto something here?
Well, it's kind of what I was saying too, though, is that it's kind of this new day. She's taking over. She has a different mindset than the people before her.
Yeah.
I think.
But it is a new day, as it were, for this whole organization, and what's going to happen going forward is going to be very different than what it had been in the past.
It left me wanting a new series, but at the same time, not. I just want to see this every Halloween, and I want to see it grow every Halloween.
Yeah, I think that what you're seeing there, I think it is just the literal transition of a new dawn. I mean, we are literally seeing a new dawn. Because with the first shot we see of Ted and Jack is right first thing in the morning as he's waking up, and she's kind of sitting back, reclining, going, what's next? I think you nailed it, Stan. Actually, I think you went into more depth than even I was thinking about. But it is literally the change of the new day.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I like that he stole the phonograph. I just picture his big hands.
He stole the phonograph.
Moving that little needle, his big claw hands. Oh, by the way, the actor that played Ted was also the same actor that played Black Crustacean in Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Same guy in the costume. So one of the podcasts I used to listen to that is no longer around was the Disney Magic Hour. And whenever they would do a movie review or a film review or a TV review, they would always talk about what was the pinnacle scene. If you were to pause on one frame, what would be the one that you would choose to describe this entire movie? And I told you guys, or this entire special. So I told you guys I want to start doing this because I love that concept. And I'm curious to see what each one of us come up with. So let's go around the table and kind of, what is your pinnacle screenshot, Justin?
Well, as I think about it, my favorite shot of the film, and so the one that I chose is when Man-Thing first grabs Ted. And he suddenly, you see him turn and smile and relax because he hasn't found a monster; he's found his friend.
Okay.
And so that was kind of the scene that I thought of as kind of best representing this whole thing, because it's really about their friendship and how that then impacts Elsa and this Monster Hunters organization going forward.
Very good. Very good. How about you, Jay?
I would say it was the scene where Jack looked at Elsa in the cage and went, look at me in the eyes. I need to remember you so you don't get hurt.
So the scene of the two of them in the cage together.
Yeah, when he's like, I want to remember you. I do not want you to be hurt. Please just look at me.
And voiceover guy?
I have to say, I'm going to go back to what I mentioned earlier. That transformation scene for me was just beautiful. It sort of is the whole series in one shot, and the whole movie in one shot. Just this idea of looking to see what's inside a person, and that's really what we see there is the transformation of him from one being to another.
Yeah, so like the horror in her eyes and the shadow.
Yeah,
and the shadow.
Exactly.
Well, yeah,
and the shadow, and then
that one best encapsulates that whole idea of it being this homage to those old 30s classic monster films as well.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. See, I was kind of
and artistically shot too.
Yeah, I was kind of torn between the final shot where she's sitting in the chair and it's turning to color, and the shot where all the hunters are in the room together There's one scene where you get to see all 6 hunters and Ilsa's just kind of sitting down. I thought that kind of represents the entire show right there, was kind of my thought. So I find it interesting that all of us kind of had a different representation.
Stan, I actually want to see more of Ilsa than I do Jack.
I think we will. I'm pretty sure we're going to see more of Ilsa in future Marvel shows for sure, is my guess. How about you, the listeners? Was there a definitive shot that describes you? There were so many amazing, beautiful shots that you could just basically pause, print, and hang on your wall in this entire series, realistically.
Hey, Stan, before we wrap up, I want to say happy Halloween to all the wonderful, amazing, beautiful, wonderful, amazing listeners of the Solo Show. Thank you for being here with us.
Yes, absolutely. Well said.
Agreed.
Well, Ken, seeing as how you're here, it's easier for you to take it away because you don't have to dial in or anything. You can just take it away.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to take your turn in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. Tell us your idea for the show, and we'll contact you about a date and a time for you to join us. If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. All logos, sounds, and songs that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned solely by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be, the ownership of The Solo Show podcast. We hope you'll join us for the next adventure on The Solo Show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.